you've become controlled. And this is why I challenge you to stop just scrolling on these platforms and find the people that you really connect with and go straight to them. What are you feeding your mind, and what are you feeding out into the world? Are you going to take the risk to go for the thing that's going to be the thing that lights you up, that makes your life meaningful?
This is the Podcast in the Rough. Tune in every Friday for new adventurous episodes.
Welcome back to another great episode of the Podcast in the Rough. I'm your host, Zebulon Thomas, and this is episode 147. Today, we're going to be talking about what are you feeding your mind? Like, what are the things that you are allowing your eyes, your ears to process and let into your mind that are altering who you are and, dictating your mood for the day? A lot of us get up and we go right to our cell phones and we're absorbing the daily news. Think about it. Like, you get up in the morning early and you jump on one of these social media platforms, and right away you're being fed information, news. Like, you're telling me, like, the day has just started off, especially if you're an early riser, and you're like, what is going on already? Like, you're telling me it's that early and there's already stuff being pumped out there that it's like, really? And I want you to be aware of this because I want you to realize that there's an agenda for social media, for the news, for all this stuff. It didn't just happen today. They have the next weeks, if not months, planned out just to feed you. And that's talking about, just the media. Listen, there's individuals that are doing the same thing. And then there's individuals that are just saying, hey, I need to get those views. I need to get those likes up. This is going to trend. This is going to get me exposure, with no worry about how it's going to impact others. And I bring this up because, no one's really talking about it. And I think we should talk about it more on two different levels. If you're a content creator, the content you're putting out there in the world, if you're just doing it for views and likes, like, what is your goal? Like, you're trying to just get famous? You're trying to get popular? You're trying to just grow what? For what? Get all these subscribers for what? There's a bazillion ways for you to get rich. There's a bazillion ways for you to be famous. There's a bazillion ways for you to be known. But which one of those are going to leave a legacy? What of those are going to make an impact that's going to be the impact that identifies with you and who you are? Like, your real higher purpose. And as content creators, we need to think about these things, especially if you're new and you're coming up. Like, what do you want to create in this world that everyone will know you by? Why start off on the wrong foot? Or why start off over here and think that you're going to earn the respect later? I mean, yes, your career can change and shift, but it should evolve and shift as you get more creative, as you grow and you mature. But when you're starting out, you know better to start out on that grind of like, hey, this is just going to get trending. Let's just put it out there. There's also companies of individuals that put together an organization that is just designed to create content or grab content and manipulate it and put it out there. And they're not looking at the comments, they're looking at the views. They've partnered with a sponsor or a brand, or they found a way to monetize that. And they say, as long as we just keep traffic coming to our, social media or our platform, then we're going to get paid. And it's going to work off of fear-mongering, smoke and mirrors, right? Like, what are the things that we can, get you to go, whoa, shock factor? But none of this is good for you. And so I guess the real question is, why are you allowing yourself to fall into that trap? And I'm not innocent. I do it too. I'll be scrolling TikTok or something. I'm like, what the heck am I? What is this? So then I stopped scrolling TikTok. And I started specifically finding the individuals I wanted to follow on TikTok. I said, obviously, this platform is toxic to me. I'm not going to say it's toxic to you. Maybe your experience is different. But it's toxic to me. It doesn't make me feel right. It gets me thinking differently. It frustrates me. It's almost annoying. And so my creative mind and what I'm searching for is not showing up. It's like, this is not what I'm here for. I need to find what I'm here for. And that's even after I've spent some time on the platform for it to understand what I like. And it's still feeding me garbage. So then I said, you know what? I'm not going to go on and look at this. I'm not going to scroll. I'm going to actually dial in the search or go straight to who I'm following and click those people and see what they've posted. And I don't care about everything else. If I hear about something that's good and I should engage in it, I'll find it. Or if I'm searching for a specific thing, that's what I do. I want you to get more focused and do the work on finding who it is that you want to feed your mind, or the information you need to obtain, or the things you want to learn. Don't go to these platforms and just randomly, seamlessly scroll. Now you become a sheep, right? You're on that treadmill. They control you. You've put on the mind controlling helmet, if you will. The hat, boom. Those are the aliens, right? They got you. They beamed down on you, and they're telling you what to do. With every swipe, with every scroll, with every like, with every share, with every subscribe, with every comment. You've become controlled. I have become controlled. And the thing is, I was creating content for companies. I create content for myself. I still do. This is what this is, the podcast. But when I was creating content for companies, I really realized just how much of an agenda there is for everything out there. It's one thing to have a company, some objectives and goals that you're going for, and you're going to grow a business, but it's another thing to really just have a whole slew of people on a team that their main job is to go scour the internet for what everybody is thinking, saying, or doing and trending, what changes or shifts in the algorithm, how we can manipulate that. What thing does better? Oh, let's cross-promote this. Let's cross-test this, if you will. Let's do an A and a B test, Let's run the same stupid ad with different context. One is a positive, one is a negative. See which one does better. And then we're going to put all our money on that when it comes back. Okay, if you're going to cross-test, you do an A and B, maybe A, B, and C. Don't do positive negatives. Just do positives. That's the problem with the world. That's the problem with social media. And I bring this up because how does this affect your mental health? Our mental health. How does it affect the vibration of the world, right? I want to see, personally, everyone else smiling and being happy. I want to see other people being joyful and excited about their lives and the things that they do, and passionate about their business, their content, their company. Not just because they want to jump on this social media treadmill that the platforms now have created, this thing that we all have to perform, and we're, shadow banned, or we're not favored if we don't spend daily time on this. I want you to realize that you're wasting away your most valuable resource you have, and that is your time. At the end of the day, you don't get that time back. You've wasted it on countless stuff that you could have spent that time wisely spending with family, working on yourself, creating something new, creating a breakthrough, doing something that changes the world, doing something that helps your community, doing something that might help other people, spending just time to figure out who you are, right? And what it is that you really want to do. And this used to come in the form of you working at a really crappy job. And you were at this job, you're on this assembly line. I've done it. I'm here because I was told I have to get a job. I'm here because I got to pay the bills. I'm here because I started living outside my means. And I'm sitting there at this factory, and I'm just like, there's got to be something better than this, And you turn to your left and your right, you see people that are all different ages working in this factory, and you're like, I don't want to end up like them. I don't want to be that age working here. Or you're like, why is this person, here? They went to college. Oh, man, I don't want to fail. I don't want, and then you're like, well, if I leave, how am I going to make things happen? And then one day you get the nerve and the guts to take the leap of faith, and you go, I'm going to do my own thing. And you do that, and you fail. And then you get back up, and you do it again, and you fail. And then you get addicted to this constant grind of, you know what? If I keep pushing myself and I keep facing fears and failing forward, I'm going to have success, and I'm going to ultimately be able to control a lot of things in my life that I couldn't before. And that's how it used to be. And it's kind of the same way now, but the difference is we're not in a factory anymore. We're worse. We're spending more time. We're on social media, and we're putting in the time there. We're putting all our eggs in one basket. See, before I'd be at the factory, and I'd leave, and I'd be so upset that I spent so much time at the factory doing nothing because it didn't serve my purpose. And I started working on the thing that's going to serve my purpose, and I'm going to get paid to do, and I'm going to enjoy doing. And I'd do that outside of that. And then it would take off, and it did. And I no longer had to go back to the factory. But the problem is now we're on social media, and we're all our eggs in one basket, and we're putting all our grind into this thing. And the reason we're not succeeding as much as we want to, because this thing controls our success. You got to go outside of that to create some other thing that's going to be something that you have more control over, and you can grow. And those platforms, that social media, does not control or dictate your success. And that's what I did. I started my company, ZT Films. And I said, all right, here's what it is. social media is the factory, and ZT Films is going to be my passion project, and it's going to pay off one day. I big dreams, and I control that. And how do I control it? Because it's not a social media thing. So here I am on social media, and the grind is do videos, post them up, share my work. I'm just sharing my work. I don't care about the following, the subscriptions, the likes, the thumbs up. I'm just sharing my work because online I can reach the people that might be interested in bringing me on board to do a production. And that was the brands, or that was the owners, or like, you know what I'm saying? I was able to connect. I was able to showcase my work on a platform, which I'm so excited for. And I said, okay, well, that might not be enough. I'm going to vlog my life. So I started daily vlogging on YouTube, which was really a grind. Here's the thing. There's pros and cons to that. And I've talked about it before. Vlogging my life was extremely hard. And you had to decide if you want to enjoy this moment or film this moment. Like look back on it or experience it right now. And I am so glad that I vlogged 3.5, 4 years of my life every day, because I can look back and just, it's incredible to see my life at that point in my life. And which was perfect timing for me because, and I say this for anybody starting out, if you're starting a project, you're trying to be successful, trying to do something, document it, share it online. Who cares what they say? Just document it, share it online. Because you'll look back and be like, wow, now you realize just how hard you grind to get that to go. Anyone ask me, oh, ZT Films just took off, you just got all the success, must have happened overnight. No, you can go back and watch the daily grind. Every time, what I was doing between shoots, after shoots, before shoots, what my life was like. You could see me come up. And then what happened is exactly what I wanted to happen. My goal was never to stay on social media. I got really busy. I wanted to kind of stop showing my life a little bit because I started to get more successful. And obviously when you start to make more money, the less you want to show. It sounds backwards because everyone's showing it like, check this out. But the people that have it, they don't show it. 99% of the people that have it are not showing it. Just letting you know that. It's a lot of fake it till you make it. And then there's people that obviously their brand is built on showing it because it's a motivator, and they're going to show it because they have that level, and they're like, I want to be open, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, most of the time, it's not a good idea. What does that do, right? If that's not your objective, okay? My goal was not to share my success. It was to inspire people to go out there and face it and go do the thing that is going to be the thing that's lighting them up and making them excited. And showing them this is how I'm doing it. I'm failing forward. And what was awesome is the beginning of my vlogs, like I had nothing to prove. Like I didn't have a name for myself. I was just this guy, right? Hey, check me out. And then it got complicated because then you start to get sponsors. You start to partner with businesses and brands. People have their hand in your pocket. There's a check tied to that. And if you want the pay, you got to do different things, or you can't do certain things. You can't show stuff. And then it became really political, if you will, right? And then the agenda happened. And then it was like, oh. So then I had to navigate that. But it was not as bad as if I put all my eggs in one basket on social media. So the layout was this. ZT Films, I head out into the world and I fed small local businesses, commercials to put online. So I didn't want to be in the rat race, but I knew how to make that move for them. And I was working on their business, and they couldn't because they were working in their business. And I was able to think outside the box for them, and I was able to create strategies and videos that I felt was exciting for that business, looking from a 30,000 foot view, or also looking from outside in. And I made them feel special. I made their brand look good. I made their business look good. And then that grew into bigger brands and yada, yada, yada. It blew up. But you can look back at the grind. So here's my thing. The factory is my social media. I'm doing the vlogs, sharing my portfolio. But my passion project was ZT Films. Right? And so I started helping these businesses. And because I helped the businesses, they made money. And they were like, you know what? I want more of this. And then I started to make money. And so then it became a track record of results. Here's what you put in. Here's what you get out. Here's what I do. Bam. And I'm just very blessed and very good at it because I pay attention to that. And I learned that the things that you want, if you want it to go big, there's things you have to do outside the box. There's a slew of things you have to go to push against and be different and kind of develop that edge for that company. And a lot of the companies, sometimes they're afraid of doing that, so you got to convince them. But again, it's all coming from passion and love because I'm creating the content that is going to feed the world and make them feel so excited about this brand or so excited about this company or so excited in general, this content, and they want to share it. And that's the true purpose of creating content. I feel it needs to be something that moves people, gets them excited. And I also told myself I'd never partner with a company or brand or product or service that didn't align with the greater good. Like I'm not going to promote something it's going to be bad for you. I mean, yeah, there's decisions. Like, of course, I've done stuff for, well, I can't even drop the names in here, but I've done some stuff for soda drink companies, if you will, and maybe the ingredients in there are not the best. But you know what? I'm like, it's like, it is something a lot of people enjoy, and it's your choice. So I'm like, you know what? This is cool, and I do like this particular product. So I'm like, let's do something cool. And we got extreme with it, and it was a lot of fun. And so that kind of went down to like, that's where the political thing happened and some of the control, but I was still navigating the waters and building my thing. And I bring this up because I want you to build your thing. But if you're on social media, you're in the factory, you're putting in the rat race, you're doing all the stuff, you're still in the factory. You haven't left the factory. Meaning you're never going to create the thing that's going to get you out of the factory if you're still in the factory. Now, maybe, I met a guy years ago that literally worked in a factory making plastic like lids. And he decided to make like his own mold to be like a Tupperware bowl. And he didn't tell anyone. And he just made a few. He made like 20 or 30 of these things for himself. And then a friend saw it and says, I want that. And this is early. This is like 2000, right? And they bought them. And then someone else saw it and they wanted it. And this is before we had like this particular product. And it became the product. And he built it inside of a factory without telling anyone. And then he's like, you know what? I need my own factory. And instead of getting fired, the factory's like, hey, we want to take on this project. And they partnered with him. And now you went from an employee to a business partner. And now you're making this thing that's selling more than the factory was making because you were a genius mind inside that factory. So if you could be a genius mind and pull yourself out of the factory by doing something in the factory, cool, you fine. You'll be okay. But most of us are not that way. Most of us are really just trying to figure it out and they want to do our own thing. So I bring this up also because I want you to know that like ZT Films, I got really, really successful with this. And I'm so proud of this and I'm still doing it. And I have a lot of accolades. It's taken me so many amazing places and it's got so much more to deliver. And I've created this machine that produces for me, but I still have to feed it. I have to put into it. I have to work on me. And so I have this thing that is outside of social media and I love it. I've done so much stuff that I haven't documented and shared online. I have so many photos in my house of things that I've done that are great memories for me. It's for me to remember, not for the world to see, right? The different people I met. I don't need to boast and brag about those things. And now listen, there's a whole set of accolades and a roster of information and a portfolio that does have all the hype because that's also part of the business is to show people this is the scope of my work. And this is what makes me a seasoned, entrepreneur, professional, and creative that can be trusted with your brand and business because I was trusted by these companies and brands, businesses. And so that's what the sharing is. But if you look on social media, I don't have a big following. Maybe I will one day. That's not my goal. I want to be looked at like inspirational and like, wow, like because of my work, people love what I've done and accomplished and that's fine. And I get that outside of social media. On social media, you're just looking at it from a different view. And maybe you like my videos and they're like, cool. But I don't give you the opportunity to really connect besides on this podcast to know who I am. And so, obviously there's an image there, but I don't have a big following. And that doesn't mean that I'm not getting paid. That doesn't mean that I'm not successful. That doesn't mean that I'm not worth anything. It doesn't mean nothing just because you have a small following. And so, it's just not my goal. And if I really wanted it, cool. But, obviously with that following, it becomes more demand. I don't want to put myself back on a hamster wheel, if you will. I don't have to feed that. So it's something I want you to think about. If a following is your thing, go for it. But what's the objective? What's the goal? What's the outcome? You got to think about it. Like, what are you feeding your mind? Remember, we'll go back to that. What are you feeding your mind? And what are you feeding out into the world for other people to have what? So let me give you a little scenario. Like maybe your objective is I need to get 1,000 subscribers on TikTok so I can go live and I can live stream my business product that I'm doing and I'm going to introduce it to the world. And I want to, do that. And then I could sell more product and build this business out. Or maybe it's like, I want to grow a social media following so I could start to tailor that into a community and start to find the people that resonate with me and we could talk about the thing that lights us up. Or I want to be famous and I want to be maybe an actor or an actress. And I want to use this portfolio to build a following because I know that's important. A lot of people have to like me. And if they like me on social media, if I do good on the screen, they'll like me on the screen in the movies. And then my career will be good. And then I might find the ideal agency or someone to represent me. And I might become someone in Hollywood. See, there's a game plan, objective, and an outcome. But how successful are you going to be at any one of those things if you go, okay, I want to grow this business. Let me go find the news that scares people, that talks all this crap. Let me go do just really stuff that's nonsense, just so people look at me, and then I'll earn my respect later. Or I want to be this actress, and I'm going to go do all this other stuff, right? And expect to be respected as an actress later. I mean, if that's your goal, to fall into any one of those things and take that into your career, then that's fine. But I don't see that it's important to do those things. Like if, again, who are you? What are you structuring? What is this image of yourself and the image you want to portray and the ideal lifestyle that you want to live? Like, how are you designing your life and the people that you're gonna attract into your life? Maybe you're the motivator for them. So how do you want to help them design their life? How are you going to inspire them so your actions are being looked at? And how are you going to support that and back that up when someone disagrees with that? Because if you're aligned with your vision, you have your purpose, and someone doesn't agree with it, it's much more easy to comment back on that and reply to that from a place of love and giving and understanding, because it's not offensive. Because you're like, hey, you know what? This is what I believe. This is what I do. And, I would love to learn more about what you do. I'm sorry it doesn't resonate with you, or it doesn't align with you. It's not for you. But if it's like fake it till you make it, you're going to get all upset because someone's kind of shifted you around and broke through and poked at you, and you're like, you don't know what's going on, I'm doing my best, and now you expose your fakeness. So when it comes to the internet, social media, it's not even the internet anymore. Like, when's the last time you went on a web page? I do, because I use a computer and I use a phone and I'm doing a lot of things. But when's the last time you really went on a website? You're on applications, you're on platforms, and on that platform, there's a different set of rules for each one. There's a different algorithm, or one or two, right, or more. And so I just want to challenge everyone to start to think about, like, how are you designing your life? And it starts off with getting up in the morning and not looking at your phone. Getting up in the morning, giving yourself this time that you need for you. And if you got to get up earlier because you got to go to work early, you get up earlier, lose a little bit of sleep or something. Or you get on a schedule and it's really tight and you go, I'm going to get this amount of sleep. I'm going to have enough time to get up 30, 40 minutes. Or if I can only get in 20, I'm going to get in 20. And I'm going to prime myself for the day. And I'm going to feed my mind the things I need to be the better person. So I don't become part of this soup that we're in, and I don't spill over throughout the day, and I don't have breakdowns throughout the day. I don't develop anxiety, become depressed, and I don't, lose my way, or I don't just work for the money and find out at the end of the day it's not sustainable and it goes away, and I have nothing because I spent all this time doing this and this thing. What is your purpose, your passion, and go for that. Fight for what is yours. If you enjoy where you work, be the best at it. But listen, I say that, but hear me out when I say this. You could be the best at it, and that company, if they don't respect and care about you, if they haven't taken the time to build their culture, if they haven't taken the time to build their community, to build their family, their business in that manner, it doesn't matter how good you are. They're just looking at you, and if you underperform even for a second, they'll get rid of you. If you finish all the tasks you need sooner than they expected, you've handed them the biggest check of all, and they will get rid of you. If you go in there and you just show up every day and you just do the basics, they'll get rid of you. It's not you. It's aligning with a company that's taken the time to build that respectable value, success ladder, implement the sense of family, the sense of community inside their business, and built that up in that way, and they have a purpose, and they go, listen, we are looking for key individuals to grow with us, and they really, really care about you, and you know that, now we're talking. Now you want to show up, and you will give everything you can because you're passionate about doing it. You're not going to get emptied out at the end of the day. You're going to feel like, man, I love this. I love my job. I love what I do. And you've met them. I've met them too. I love the people that are like, man, I just love what I do. And they found that sweet spot, and their company respects them. And they're not getting rid of them anytime soon. And they're taking care of them. And, when they underperform, they don't go, oh, you're fired. You better pull it up. You better get it together. No, they go, hey, I see that maybe you underperformed. You've been doing so well up to this point. Are you stuck? Is there something going on? What's going on? Like, how can we be there for you? How can we understand this? Do you need some time off? But no, you got these CEOs that don't care, that just want that money. You got to make that money. Listen, I've been there. I've made entrepreneurs hundreds of millions of dollars. And they still looked at me and said, hey, that was nice. Let's double it. Double it. Okay, double it. Hey, okay, that was awesome. Do it again. Okay. And it was never ending, feeding the greed, feeding I just need, I want, gotta have. Never once did they turn to me and go, you want to take your family on vacation? You need a break. You want to take a break? Let me give you a break. Thank you for doing all of this. You've really over-delivered this amazing. Now go take a week or two off. No, it was awesome. Get back to work. And I don't mean tomorrow, like right now. And I realized, like, okay, at the top tier of my expertise, what I thought I was being brought in as, like, I'm one of the best out here, they say, That's the title they give me inside. That's the sugar they give you, right? That's the poison they feed you, right? We're going to give you all this, man. You're so good at what you do. And then they tell you, we made you. We made you. You didn't make me, right? You didn't make me. And I bring this up because, like, you're going to find levels in your business, in your career, in the success where you're on your path, you're doing your thing, and then people are going to think that they take ownership of that. People are going to think that they were a part of that. And some rightfully so. But in this case, I was already on my thing, and I just kind of went left. I didn't even go into more of my industry. I went left. I went into a whole different industry, and I thought that this was the thing. And I realized real quick, it was a new learning thing, that wasn't the thing. Like that, it's just a different industry. These aren't my people, right? This is not the CEOs that I'm used to dealing with. These are not the people at the big brands that are running a really civilized, exciting organization, and they're respectful, and they do the big business, not these playground entrepreneurs, if you will. They're playing little league, thinking they're playing big league, but they're really playing little league, even though they're hitting home runs and they're making a lot of money and they have this following and this, but they don't have the structure like these 40, 50, 60-year-old businesses that have been along for a long time that really run the show, that really know what it's all about. And you'll get some of these entrepreneurs that will develop those companies, and that'd be great, but they don't act like that. And so I bring this up because I want you to know that, listen, it starts with you. What are you feeding your mind? And that goes into, setting yourself up and priming yourself for the day. And that goes into what is aligning with your purpose. Where are you spending the most time? Are you at a job you don't like? Are you working for entrepreneurs you don't like? Are you working for a company you don't like? Or are you feeding it? How do you lean into and get more into the stuff that you do like? Are you trying to be rich? Are you trying to be successful? Are you trying to build something, a community? Are you trying to leave a lasting impact? Are you trying to change the world? What is it you're trying to do in a positive way that really aligns with who you are? Not what everyone else wants you to be. Not what the treadmill wants you to do. Not what the algorithm says you need to do. That they don't control you, you control you. Are you going to take the risk to go for the thing that's going to be the thing that lights you up, that makes your life meaningful? Maybe you don't make a lot of money, but you have a great life and it's meaningful. You just don't have the money. Or are you going to go for the money and keep searching for what is my purpose? And I've been on both sides of that. I've seen both sides of that. And I bring that up because I want to inspire all of you. Like, this is what my platform is for. This is why I do podcasting. Because I get to talk about these things that are on my mind and talk about mental health, especially now. I've always been motivating people, but I'm going through something too. Just like you. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna, fake it. I'm tired of wearing the smile. There's a time where you sit down with these, whoever you're around, people in general, and the question is like, how you doing? And you're just like, I'm not going to answer what you think I'm going to answer. I'm not going to, it's all good. I want to, but I might be like, hey, I'm working on it. I'm looking forward for it to get better. So I'm like, I'm just in the grind. Or quite frankly, I might be like, whatever, I'm all right. Or not, and I don't want to be a puppet to your conversation. I'm not going to laugh when you want me to laugh. I'm not going to just lean into your conversation all the time. I might not give you a response, or might not give you the response you want, because I'm not wearing the fake face anymore. I'm going to actually be reactive to what you're saying in a manner that's raw, real, but also compassionate, loving, caring, and coming from a place of, understanding. And so I think a lot of us are feeling this way. We're feeling maybe burned out, or social media is wearing on us, or we're like, oh, mental health. And, we got these people saying, oh, it's all because of, I can't even say it on here, but all because of certain things that we went through in the past 4 years. That's why mental health is at all-time high. No, because the world was flipped upside down. Because people got taken away from other people. They couldn't communicate with other people. Humans have to be together. Like, humans feed off other humans, like the energy, the love, the creativity, the abundance. And you got people saying, oh, no, it's not because of this one thing. It's because of all of it. It's because of social media doesn't have, regulations on this stuff yet. It's too new. Like there should be, penalties for spreading fake news and false information. There should be something like that. But at the same time, when I look at it, I'm like, you know what? That's where I'm going to be like back in my day, like back in my day, you'd be, we didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet like we do now. I was there before the internet, actually. And, we'd meet our friends and they would be like, did you hear about so-and-so? Or did you hear about this that happened over there? Like, you were convinced that these things were real. And the gossip was still there. All the conversations, the made up stories, that's just youth, right? Just creating things that, whoa, no way, And now it's the same thing. It's just on a massive scale. That's what TikTok is. That's what Instagram has. Like, there's more fake it till you make it now, but I'm saying the stories are the same. It's just they're more intense and there's media behind it, and they can really put it together to make it more plausible and make you believe it. And so it's not, you can't get mad at that because it's always been going on. But again, it's how you're absorbing so much of it at once, you're overstimulating your brain. And this is why I challenge you to stop just scrolling on these platforms and find the people that you really connect with and go straight to them. That's what I do. I don't go on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok or Twitter or X, whatever, or YouTube, and I don't just sit there and scroll aimlessly on the suggested videos. I literally think about what it is I want to engage in, and I'll search it. I want to learn about podcasting, I'll search it. I want to learn about how to make this, I'm going to search it. Hey, what's got funny jokes? Who's got the jokes? Who's got comedy? I'm going to search it. All right, watch a few things, go right to them, subscribe, come back to them daily, weekly, search them, go right to them, check out their profile. I don't have to wait for them to post something for me to see it. I go right to them because, again, if you're waiting for them to post, well, guess what? Now you're being subject to all the garbage they're going to feed you, and it's going to disrupt your mood. It's going to mess with your mental health. It's going to change you. It's going to control you. Take off the mind control helmet, the glasses, the hat, whatever that is, and go do what you want to do. It doesn't mean you have to leave social media. It just means that you have to tailor it to work best for you and fit who you are and what you want to feed yourself. But don't let it suggested videos. Like, come on, seriously? How many of the suggested stuff you've seen on Instagram or even TikTok is nonsense? There's no way that would be suggested for me. No way. So that's why I challenge you. Stop buying into social media like that and start using it as a different tool. Go to where your creative is. If you want to hear my episodes, don't wait for the algorithm push it. It's not going to happen. I'm not favored. If anything, I'm shadow banned, right? Don't, sit there and wait for a post to happen or someone to share it. Like, just go straight to this week. Every Friday, this podcast goes out. 8 a.m. on Apple, Spotify, and all the other platforms on podcasts. And it's usually released on YouTube Thursday night, sometime around between 11 and 12. If I post it early, that's when it is. You can catch it early. Thursday night, Friday morning. All day Friday, you can join me into the weekend. Don't wait for it to show up or be pushed to you because it's not going to. So go to the platform. Go to me. Go to thepodcastandrough.com. Go to my YouTube channel at Zebulon Thomas. Find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Search The Podcast in the Rough every Friday. Go to it. You want to advance, you want to get into something a little bit more? Guess what? You can go to buymeacoffee.com/in-the-rough and get involved in my premium content. And that's content where I'm creating stuff that I feel is going to really motivate you or share more information, and you get it. And there's some free content on there, and there's very, very, really low-key, affordable options if you want to access the premium content for a subscription. Or if you want to just donate, you can donate and support this podcast to keep the website up and running, right? Because again, like my podcast, I'm not designing this to be super profitable. It just has to function. I already invested in all thousands of dollars here in equipment to get this to go, to make it sound this way. And I didn't have to, but I wanted to, and I did. That was me. That was my investment. I invested in this. I bought the website. I pay for that monthly. I'm offering premium content to give you more, to build more of a community, to have a little deeper conversation outside the podcast with my supporters, if you will. And I'm creating this experience. And that money is being used then to pay for the hosting of the websites, to show me that this is operational, even at a foundational level, even if I don't make a profit. It's funding the website. So I just want to let you know, if you're supporting the Podcast in the Rough, you're making the donation, it doesn't take much. That's why I have it so cheap. I dropped all the prices down. I don't need to make a profit. I just need to make sure I keep the lights on, if you will. So it's taking care of things like the website. It's taking care of things like certain hosting, the domain. It's taking care of things like, I need to maintenance certain microphones, or one, goes out, I got to, buy a new one. Well, guess what? I got a little bit of cash here, and I'm going to throw my own investment on that. I'm going to upgrade and get this microphone. This is what I do every day. This is what I do. Grind, work on the things that I want, live in my abundance zone, which I talked about that last week, episode 146. Go check out Creative Secrets, the Abundance Zone. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Go check that episode out. And if you want to dial back a little bit more, a really popular episode this month actually has been my most popular episode, is episode 145, Mental Media, Social Health. How are you? I talk about mental health. It's a huge episode. I shared a lot of great nuggets. I got a lot of feedback for it. It's great. And again, I want you to, go find the content, go where it is. If you want the premium content, access it. It's there for you. You support, just like you support local, right? Support the podcast. I'm giving it to you. I'm helping you in any way. And if there's any questions, listen, I'm a seasoned entrepreneur. I've been through a lot. It doesn't mean I'm not going to go through more. Definitely trying to grow. And to grow, I got to go outside my comfort zone. I got to keep going at that thing. But if there's anything you get stuck on, like that's what the platform is. buymeacoffee.com/intherough. That's what it's for. It's so that we can have that conversation that is not, because I can't do that. I don't want to make it public, if you will. I want to have it on a platform where it's a safe space, a safe zone. We could talk about this thing. There's no judgment here. And that also extends into my Podcast Community Mastermind Facebook group. Get inside. It's a free group. Get inside there. Talk about podcasting. Talk about what you're going through. Let's do that. I've built these small little areas in these platforms to build my community to help other people grow, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. So speaking of which, I want to share these 2 micro ads that promote those 2 things that you can get more involved, and how you can get more involved, because I've put in the time and work, and it's important to me, and I know it's going to add massive value to you if you want to. So check this out. Okay, once again, if you would like to join me inside the Podcast Community Mastermind Facebook group, it is absolutely free. All you have to do is go to thepodcastintherough.com/learn. That is thepodcastintherough.com/learn, and get inside the group and learn how to podcast from start to success. If you'd like to support this podcast, buy me a coffee by heading over to buymeacoffee.com/intherough and become part of the adventure by showing your support and taking advantage of any one of our exciting membership tiers. The Podcast in the Rough. All right, if you're enjoying this podcast episode, I would love for you to give me a rating and review about this podcast by heading over to thepodcastintherough.com and scrolling to the bottom of the page and leaving us a review. Or if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave a star rating and a review. It would help us reach more people and get them to learn about the Podcast in the Rough. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And there you have it. Those are my ads. And I had so much fun putting those things together because I sat down, I said, okay, I built the structure of my podcast, and I was like, I want to create these ads that promote these core things that I'm building out because I have a goal, an objective, a purpose, and an outcome. Like, this is what I want. And again, I was like, let me do that. And I had fun. I created that. And that's what it's all about. When you're going back to last week's episode, the abundance zone, when you're in the zone, like your creative limits, you just keep going. Like you just keep creating the thing, and you get so lit up and so excited about it, and you don't want to take a break from it. I want you all to get there. I want you all to enjoy your life. I want you to build the thing. Whether it makes you money or not, you should still have the thing that lights you up. And some of you, yes, I understand. You might be like, listen, I'm in a crappy job. I don't make a lot of money, yada, yada, yada. I'd love to have this. You can pull out your phone and create this. You can do the thing without having to spend all the money. Or you can work your way up. There's a blueprint for everything. There's a framework and you just take a little bit from here and there, and then you go. Like, listen, I took from my mentors at the very beginning before I met them, and I built something left to center from what they do. I applied their analogies, their framework, their concepts, their creative, the strategies into a different industry and a different business, and it took off. It was amazing. And then I met my mentors, whether that's good or bad. And I realized that I don't need them. I always tell people, if you got a mentor, that's cool. Grab the mentor, learn everything you can, but don't stay with them. Move on to someone else at some point. Like, don't keep drinking the same Kool-Aid, if you will. It's okay to take a few sips, get what you need, make it your own, and then move on. But don't just sit there. Like, even with the content I'm sharing with you, I'm building you up to get to where you got to go, and then you just launch out into the world, baby. Let's go. And then you don't even need to drink my Kool-Aid, if you will. And the good thing is, at least, listen, my Kool-Aid might not be all sweet, right? It's not going to have all the ingredients that's going to get you addicted. That's real, right? That's some raw stuff, right? It's good. That's some solid stuff. And when I really want some solid stuff, I'm going to come back to that. But if people are just hyping it up, man, you're just being brainwashed, you're being controlled. And I want you to challenge to think about that. And I bring this up not because I'm going to be conspiracy and all this stuff. Like, no, I'm bringing this up because it's mental health. And I want everyone to experience a better quality of life. And I thought I thought I was untouchable, right? Because I was such the energy guy. I'm like, you can never bring me down. Like, mentally, I got high self-esteem. I'm good. I'm not, And then, boom, the same people that come in with open arms, saying they care about you, they go, they get involved. Same people, when they go in for the hug, they stab you in the back. You're like, dude, why'd you do that? I didn't know you had that. What? Why'd you do that? Why would you do that? And they back away, smiling at you like it's all good. Like, thank you, man. Like, I appreciate you. And you're like, why did you stab me? Like, why did you do that? Why'd you feed me to the wolves? Why'd you throw me into the lion's den? With a smile, he said, go there. Like it was nothing. Like it's safe. I checked it out. It's good. And you threw me to the wolves. You threw me into the lion's den. And I think you did it because, and I'm speaking to all these entrepreneurs that did that to me. I think you did it because you're like, I want to see how well this dude could fight. Or like, hey, I want to see what you would do in this situation. Or say, you know what? I'm controlled and I can't tell you. But I have other people controlling this pot. And I hate to do it to you, but I got to do it. And hopefully you'll understand. Maybe you'll figure it out later. I don't know. Like races, it's what things I think about. Why'd they do me like that? And that's when I realized, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this was a lesson to be learned that like, it doesn't matter what you set out to do. If you're on the wrong path, you're going to keep falling into these holes, if you will. That adventure is not going to be an adventure anymore. It's going to be worse. It's going to be bad. And so I realized I got to stick with what my passion is. And I'm really good at what I do. And the problem is because I'm good at what I do, they're going to come for you they want a piece of that. And they're going to want to use you. And they want to put what you're good at into the wrong arms and hands, if you will. And they're going to want you to do bad things. And I was, that's why I got out. Because people wanted me to do the wrong thing with my extreme skill set because I'm good at that. And it would just be a really bad thing. And I said, I'm not letting this positive success secret fall into the wrong hands and become a weapon, right? I don't want that to happen. So I had to get away. But it is weird. It's strange how there's so many people in the wrong industry that they just want to get their gain and they go, thanks. And we will make it look so good for you. They will make it look so good for you. They will make you feel so important. And then before you can like really just fall into it, they pull the rug out from underneath you. And it's like, how many times can you keep doing that? So that's where I, as a seasoned entrepreneur, I've experienced that. And now I'm trying to just keep a lot of the people that want to be in my community free from those things. I know all the red flags, trust me, and there's plenty more I'm going to learn. And it sucks. But I also know about all the good things and all the things that really light people up and all the things that like, you show me someone who's going through some stuff, who build a business and they're just like, they feel like they're less than. I'm like, I could tap into what you were when you started, and I could bring that back out. I could tap into what your next level is because I can tell you're a genuine person, and that person is deep inside there. I want to pull it out. Let's go. I don't want to feed the snakes in the grass, and I don't think you should either. So again, what are we absorbing into our minds? What are we putting out there? Something to think about. Please share your comments wherever you're hearing this episode. What are you sharing into the world? What are you letting yourself absorb? Do you agree or disagree with this episode? I want to know. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Podcast in the Rough. Again, tune in next week. Don't forget, search it, go right to it. Don't wait for it to show up on the suggested. Thank you so much. This is the Podcast in the Rough.